back with another episode of To the Moon, and this one is very special. My most handsomest guest, I would say, on this entire podcast. It was funny because when Monique Walker was at the mastermind, she said, she nudged me and was like, "Yeah, he's really good looking."
Yeah, she had came up to me before we took the photos, me and my buddy Hunter, and she's like, "Are you guys models?"
Are you models, by the way?
It's funny, I had a couple of people asking if we were models. It's hilarious.
But you're not.
No, well, both of us had actually done a couple of photo shoots, like trying to become models, but we just kind of like, we both stopped. I stopped. I didn't really like it. It's hard, actually.
Yeah, it's like looking pretty all the time is hard. But you know what? Why would you need to be a model when you make money like you make wholesaling?
I know, it's way better.
Way better. For those of you that are not familiar with Tyler Uenaka, he is out of Sacramento, California, and is one of my favorite guys. He joined the astro flipping community some time ago, burst onto the scene, and has perfected micro flipping, where he works strictly with other wholesalers. He also does some MLS deals. So, guys, you want to hear everything that he has to talk about because his marketing channels are 100% free and they make him a lot of money. Tyler, welcome to the moon, brother. We're happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, man. This is super cool. I can't wait to be able to share everything I'm doing right now with the wholesalers and working with agents. I would say my expertise is definitely working with wholesalers and working with buyers, and our disposition process is probably one of the best here in Sacramento. I would say, I like to say.
I would probably agree because I've heard a lot of good things from others about you and your capacity to sell deals. So wholesalers, if you've got deals in Sacramento and you need them sold, he's your guy. If you are looking for a market to work in because you're worried because you want to make sure that you're going to sell your deals when you get them, he's your guy. You probably want to reach out to Tyler. I know he's also hiring in his company right now. He's looking for some talented people, so you probably want to reach out. But Tyler, rewind us back to before the success. Where were you? What was going on in life? How did you find me? And how did you find Astro? And what happened?
So I'll take you back to the very beginning. Growing up, I have been racing dirt bikes my entire life. I've been an athlete. My dad got me into dirt bikes when I was 3 years old. So ever since I was 4, I've been racing at the track, playing in the dirt all day, getting hurt on dirt bikes, which is fun, but not fun. And at some point it turns into more of a job. You know, you're at the gym 7 days a week, at the track 4 days a week, riding in 100-degree weather. It's pretty gnarly. So I did that my entire life up until I was about 17. I stopped because I was getting so injured. I was getting consistently injured, and I was like, I can't, like, and I'm getting I'm close to 18. I got to figure out what I'm doing with my life. At that point, and kind of towards the end of my motocross career, I was heavy into video games. I wanted to be a professional gamer. Everything I do, I want to be the best at.
Yep.
And so when I started getting addicted to video games, I wanted to become the best player in the game.
What games were you playing, by the way? What my wife plays, so I wonder if you guys ever play each other.
Maybe. I think I play one of the games she plays, which is Valorant. And then Fortnite, which everyone used to
plays
play.
That.
But,
yeah.
Yeah. So I was playing competitive Fortnite, competitive Valorant for quite some time. I was streaming, so I love to entertain. I'm making YouTube videos, streaming every single day. I would literally do 24-hour streams.
Wow.
For like 4 viewers. It was great though. I loved it.
Yeah.
But at some point I was like, I also wasn't in the right mindset, which I think is one of the best things that you have been able to bring to me with the astro flipping course with week 1 is mindset. That was amazing. And that has changed my life. And it's the reason why I've seen the success I've seen in wholesaling. So if I had that mindset back when I was racing dirt bikes, back when I was playing video games, I think I would have been very successful at those things. But I didn't have the right mindset. So I had stopped. I was getting older, 19, almost 20, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. My dad wanted me to go to college. My mom, I don't know. She's super supportive. So she's like, whatever you want to do, honey. um, and
I like your voice, your impression of her voice, but that's great.
yeah. And, at some point she was like, maybe get a job and start paying some bills or something. And so I was living with my dad, and it was either get a job, start paying bills, or go to college. And I knew I didn't want to go to college. I hated
Isn't that
school.
funny though? Get a job, pay some bills, or get into debt.
It's an interesting concept.
It's an
I think
interesting
it's
concept.
yeah, and college it made zero sense to me, because I hated high school. First of all, I just hated being there. It wasn't fun for me. I was like the class clown in high school, so I would always get in trouble and get suspended and not the best grades, but I was passing. That was one thing that I had to keep if I wanted to keep riding dirt bikes and living at home is pass, at least in school. So I think going to college for 4 years to barely come out making 100 grand, to hope someday in whatever I'm doing that I make over 6 figures a year, that's just it. Logically to me, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I don't like that process. So I moved with my mom because she didn't make me go to college. And I continued playing video games until I figured out what I wanted to do with my life. And then one day, super, super random, but this is real. I was playing Minecraft, and one of my best friends at the time, Camden, if you're watching this, shout out to you, Camden, because you changed my life just by saying this. He was like, there's this YouTuber, his name is Danny Duncan. He's like, hey, did you see that YouTuber? Did you see Danny like tripled his money in Tesla stock? And I was like, what the heck is stock? So I didn't even know about the stock market or anything. So I got into the stock market because that night I was like, what is the stock market? And I just binged watched stock videos all day. So eventually I started getting into day trading, lost some money, made some money. Overall, I was down for sure. And I was getting that money because I was door dashing. I literally delivered meals to people's doorsteps. I did that for a few hours a day, took that money, lost it in the stock market every day. So
there's probably a lot of people who can resonate with that.
Yeah. So that was like my introduction to entrepreneurship was day trading stocks, making your own money. And then I picked up a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I thought was a stock market book. But then I realized that it was more about real estate. And I was like, after reading that book, it had changed a lot of my mindset of the way I thought about money. But I still was like, I'm going to go with stocks. Real estate, you need a lot of money for. I had no idea that agents were even a thing. I had no idea you could borrow money from the banks. Like all of this was brand new to me. So I was still in the mindset, you have to be rich to buy real estate. So I just continued with the stocks. And eventually I found out about real estate agents through YouTube videos, just, ads, right? And so I was like, that's it. I can get in real estate with no money. I can be a licensed real estate agent and be involved in the transaction without spending money on buying the houses. So I was like, that was it. So I bought like a $500 YouTube course on being a real estate agent, just some guy recording himself, just telling me things that everyone knew and everyone said on YouTube. And then through the same process of just learning more about real estate agents, I just came across wholesaling. And so I started learning about wholesaling. I realized one of the big key things to find cash buyers was join Facebook groups. So I joined a few investor Facebook groups. And actually, it was funny because the way I found out about wholesaling, I was scrolling through TikTok late at night. And some 14-year-old kid was like talking about how he does MLS deals and explaining the process of wholesale real estate. And I'm like, this is so cool. I could just flip contracts. And, I was just like all over the place, right? I was like, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. I want to do it all.
Yeah, like a blue ocean.
It was amazing, but also so confusing.
Right.
So I joined some Facebook groups, and then I saw you, Mr. Blue Genie. And
was that
also,
the ad that got you?
that was one of them. But the one that really got me was you in the freezer cold calling. Literally cold calling. And so I thought that was hilarious. So I was like, man, I was spending, like, at that time I was trying to get into wholesale, so I was spending money on skip tracing, just going off YouTube, instructions, and um I didn't have the money to do that. I was still door dashing, so I didn't have money to spend like that. When I saw your ads about no cost marketing and doing real estate transactions and wholesaling, I really liked it. So that's what got me onto a phone call with the sales reps. And I didn't know what to look in a course. I was just like, I've never bought anything other than that $500 one from YouTube when I wanted to be an agent, which I thought that was like a lot of money at the time. It was like $500 just to learn some stuff. And then I don't know what entailed me to spend almost 10 grand on a mentorship from a blue genie on Facebook. Like something in me just, they told me they told me exactly everything that was within the mentorship. And I was like, okay, that sounds really cool. And then I didn't have the money, so I just made the payments, right?
Yeah.
And that was how I got into astro flipping, and that's where everything changed.
It is an incredible thing for me to hear from people as to like what brought them and how we came to be in each other's worlds, and so I appreciate you sharing that with me, and I feel like I got transported into a little bit of Tyler's life there, and it was fun. It was a fun journey. So you enter Astro, and I remember you coming to the calls and really being a good study. Like you are one of the types of people I really enjoy teaching and being in a community with, because you do the work. Like you would show up to the calls and you would ask really pertinent questions. So I knew you were going through the material and taking it seriously. And you weren't looking at this like a joke, and you weren't thinking of this as a get rich quick thing. Like you understood there was going to take work. It was going to take time, and you were willing to put in the work. And so watching your growth and then seeing your success start to come in was really rewarding for me. But tell us about it. For those of us who just met you for the first time, how did your first deal happen in the program, and what did that all look like?
Yeah. So first of all, I think one of the things that had kept me so, like, like you were saying, where I actually took the material and put it to action, was just, I think I've been molded that way just from racing dirt bikes, being an athlete. I understand that you don't get anything out of what you are doing unless you really put in the work and you're consistent with it and put to action what you're taught. And I think throughout the many, many years of my dad instilling that into my brain with dirt bikes and my trainers and my fitness coaches and everyone that I worked with, that transferring into real estate was a huge like booster for me, because I had no time to waste. And I think one of the best things about Astro, the material, was it teaches you step by step by step, like every little piece of detail you need to know to be able to do these transactions successfully. Now, there are obviously the little minute things between every transaction that you can't really teach. You just have to go through the experience, right? But it's more than enough to successfully do real estate transactions. So I knew that if I just took exactly what you're giving me and put it to action, I would eventually see some sort of result. And I knew it was possible already, because I see people within the community sharing their wins, people on the calls talking about what they're doing and the deals they're closing. So I already had a proof of concept right in front of me from real people. And I knew as soon as the minute I joined that first Zoom call, I was like, okay, this is legit. This is the real deal. So I knew that everything that these people were talking about was very, very authentic and real. So that was also one thing, like a huge stepping stone for me. Like I already had a proof of concept, even though it wasn't me, I knew it was possible. So putting that
That's
into
a huge leap. Guys, I want to just expand on that for a second, because a lot of folks, they'll come in and they'll see other people's wins, but they won't they won't take that person's win as a proof of concept. They still feel like, no, I'm not going to put belief into this until I do it. And that actually slows you down because you're not going full throttle. You're not coming in with like reckless, abandon. You jumped off the cliff because you saw other people's parachutes open up and float them off into the, into wealth. Meanwhile, other people are still like, I don't know. And so you just did it, which was incredible. Like, talk about that mindset, like being able to think that way and see from example and then just go at 19 years old, bro. I mean, that's not normal. I know you got that from dirt biking, but like it's such a special quality.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I know about myself that I really value, and it's hard to teach that to people because it's just like it was never taught to me. That's just how I was like raised, and I think being able to just apply that to everything I do, and just when I want something or I want to be successful at something and I am being told what to do, just like the logical answer is just like do what I'm being told. So I don't know. That's just how I've always been. And that's how I've always been with everything I do. And so, after putting to action all of the course material and the wholesaler outreach and being active in the Facebook groups, being active in the communities, my first deal had actually come to me just through an email. And one of the deals that were sent to me was a Sacramento deal. And I was kind of actively looking everywhere, which is one mistake I made that everyone makes, is trying to do everything everywhere. Don't do that. Laser focus in one area and laser focus on one strategy, and that's going to bring you the most success very quickly. But I had one deal come to me in Sacramento. It was a little bit tight on the numbers. But based on what I was being taught on how to comp and how to value properties, I thought it was a little bit tight. So I had gone to the wholesaler and I just called them and said, hey, I think I can help you bring a buyer to this at this price. And they're like, it was very tight. So I got them down, a few grand. And then I had called, actually, one of the things that you had taught was calling, wholesaler websites, dispo wholesaler websites. And so I did that, and I connected with a new Western rep. They were in SoCal, but they're not doing deals in Sac, at least at the time. So he connected me with a realtor he knew in Sacramento. That realtor, I called and I told him I had this property and this was my first deal and I needed help finding a buyer, or I asked if he was interested. He invited me to the office because their broker was specifically like an investment fix and flip type broker, right? Everyone there was investors, all the agents. So I presented the deal that same day when I got invited, and he ran the comps right in front of me and took the deal. So that was my first deal. And we actually I got paid out $2,500.
Fantastic. How did that feel? Just being in there, to going in live, presenting a deal like that, like that's big.
I was super nervous because I had never done anything like that. Like that was big for me, like going to a real estate office to talk about real estate. And I'm just some kid who played video games all day. And I didn't like that. It was a little bit nerve wracking, but I did it and it paid off. But after that deal, it was like, okay, well, it was really great knowing that I can do it, but I already knew I could do it. And so it was to me, it was no surprise in a way. And it was now time to just jump after my next deal and put everything I just did into further action. So that's what I did. A couple months went by and it was a little bit dry, but I think I got my first deal fairly quickly. So everything after that wasn't going to be super consistent. It took me 4 months to get my first deal, 3 months in Astro, but 4 months total, because I was wholesaling for like a month before, but 3 months total in Astro. And my next deal had came by like, I think the 5th month. That one I actually micro flipped. So I got it from a wholesaler who had an option to purchase on a property that they were living in, or that they were Airbnb-ing out. So they had an option to purchase that property from like 2 years prior. And this was like prime time, like 2020, 2021. And housing prices were skyrocketing, and they had an option from 2 years prior.
Amazing.
So they had a massive spread. They were investors, so they knew nothing about wholesaling, but I was connected through another wholesaler directly to those guys. And I was like, the numbers on this look really, really good. I don't have any buyers in SAC, but I know this guy, and this was the new Western rep who had referred me to the agent for my first deal. I went to him and I was like, hey, I have this deal. It's in Palm Springs. And he really liked the numbers. I didn't know enough to know how much money I could potentially make. I made $15,000, but both parties, acquisitions and dispositions, made over 6 figures.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild. I made 15,000 though, but I'm not complaining because like that they took advantage of a deal that they had 100% understanding of, that I had like 50% understanding of. I didn't realize how much potential was there. But that's fine. You know, it was my second deal. I was super stoked.
Second deal,
like,
15 grand, nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Incredible. So keep going.
After that, it was like, I felt like I was on top of the world. I could do this entire business, no problem. So I was just continuing to do that. I can't remember what my third deal was, to be honest with you. But I know eventually I started to lose track. I started to lose focus. I thought I was trying to scale too fast. And so I was like, okay, like I'm like 8 months in, I had done a few deals, made some money, which at the time was like a lot. I had like 20 grand on my bank account, maybe 30. And I was trying to then do direct to seller. So I started cold calling. I hired two VAs, and I just went ham on the direct to seller marketing. Very quickly, my bank account went to very little money. And so I was like, okay.
And I tell people that all the time.
Yeah. So I made that mistake. And then at the same time of doing direct to seller, I was, still trying to do the micro flipping. I was still trying to, and then I was trying to do MLS deals and like off market agent outreach. So I was literally doing everything, every strategy possible to wholesale, because I had made some money before doing it one way. So I thought if I do all of these ways, I can make even more money.
It's actually a very common error what you did.
Yeah.
It's like you get this false confidence, right? And we always feel, for whatever reason, we think the thing that we did the first time that worked the first time, we should do something different. Which I don't understand. Like, it's just, I like being a one trick pony. I like getting the same result over and over and over and over and over again from the same thing, like that to me that's, even though it can be a little boring sometimes, it's exciting making that kind of money consistently.
Yes. Yeah. And that, I realize that now, and I look back and I'm like, that makes zero sense as to why I did that. But everyone does it. I made the mistake. I mean, not everyone, but I made the mistake, and I talked to a couple of people, Jonah Korchin, which obviously, and a lot of people in the Astro community know, and he was someone who really helped me through that, because he was talking to me that he made that same mistake, and he helped me get back on track just to do one thing. And so I just decided to stick with the wholesalers, and so I did that, going into 2022. And that worked out great. My first few months into 2022, I was doing a bunch of deals, a few deals a month. And then I started getting into, and then I hired a VA actually, to do all of my wholesaler outreach. So then I had a little bit more free time on my hands. And I started doing some MLS offers. And so now in 2022, I'm about 50-50 with MLS and micro flipping, with the amount of deals I've done. I think I've done like maybe one extra deal on a micro flip than MLS, but I'm about even on the amount of deals I've been doing.
Awesome. And what does it look like for you consistency wise right now in terms of like number of deals and like monthly income?
So this year in 2022, this week I have another deal closing where I'll hit 120,000 in assignment fees. And so that, first of all, that to me is mind blowing, because just 2 years ago, I had like no money, right? I was playing video games. 2 years later, I built a 6-figure company. Like that that's just to be able to say that, that's crazy. Throughout 2022, though, it was a lot of ups and downs. So, I had a couple months where I would do no deals, and then I have some months where I do like 4 or 5 deals. And so the consistency was not super there. And I was also, even though I stuck to micro flipping and MLS, I was kind of switching between strategies of MLS, which is, I did a big no-no that you tell everybody not to do, but I built a team of buyer's agents, and I told you this. So I got a few deals, so it worked, but it didn't work as well as when I was doing it myself. So it was a little bit less consistent with the MLS deals, working with buyer agents. Just in my experience, I know there are a couple of star Astro students who are doing great with
Yeah,
with that.
and I again, the buyer's agent that they're working with is in Astro as well, so they get it and they understand. So it's like, it's a little bit of a different approach, because the reason why I say don't insert a buyer's agent into an MLS deal is because they will mess it up, and they add friction, and they don't build the rapport that is needed to be built with the listing agent when you're trying to get a deal significantly under list price. So that's the reason why I say don't bring a buyer's agent into a transaction, because they just add unnecessary friction.
Yeah, and the one thing I didn't like was I had no way to track anything they were doing.
Right.
So I didn't know what kind of conversations they had. I didn't know even if they were having conversations. And so, to be honest, I had a team of, I think, like 4 agents. One of them I did multiple deals with.
And the others,
all
nothing.
The other 3, just absolutely nothing.
And I can pretty well guarantee you they probably weren't doing anything either.
Yeah, no. And they weren't bringing as many properties as this one agent was. And that's why that one agent I was, doing some deals with. But then I kind of realized, I need to end this, because it was just in my face, don't do it. Because every Zoom call I would be on, there's somebody talking about they're working with buyer's agents, and you're just telling them not to. So eventually it just, like, I think I was being a little bit stubborn, and I was just like, I can make this work. But so I'm definitely trying to be a little bit better with just really what people tell me. I just do. People who are much more successful than me, I do what they're telling me, and I did that very well in the beginning.
But it's okay. I mean, it's a part of being an entrepreneur too, is like standing on your own 2 feet and then wanting to, kind of figure it out for yourself and feel through it. And there's nothing wrong with it. But, the reason why I say those things that I say is just thousands of transactions, right? Thousands. And think, if I've completed, over 6,000 deals, how many conversations have I had? Right? How many misses did I have? With 6,000 hits, how many misses do I have? It's countless, right? I couldn't even tell you. So that's the part, right? And I pay attention to the times I missed, because I see why I missed it. And that's what I bring that experience to the table is, hey guys, this is where I messed up,
Yeah. I did the same thing. And I tell a lot of other, and so now I try my best to share my experiences over the past couple of years with new Astro students. And I think a lot of people, there have been a couple of people that I won't say any names, but there has been a couple of people that were kind of all over the place. And I was telling them a lot of the advice that I had kind of figured out and have been told myself, things like sticking in one market, sticking in one strategy, don't scale too fast until you know that you have some sort of process or system or SOPs or consistency in place. Right. And those people are now doing deals every month after I tell them that. And I think it's so cool to see that, because they come back to me and they're like, you've helped me so much just telling me those things. And a few of them are, working the Sacramento market, and I sell their deals.
Great.
So, yeah.
What do you feel about the community? Because you've been talking about them a lot, and the community, I think, is probably, I think the community is worth more than the course, and the course is damn good.
It is. And because of the community, I did a lot of the deals I've done this year and last year. Whoops. So without the community, I'd probably be a quarter of how much revenue I've had this year.
Think of that,
and
right? It's
when
like,
you tell me, Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. So when you tell people and the first time they're in the Zoom call, interact with the people in this community and on these Zoom calls, because these are the people you're going to do deals with. You're not just saying that, like, that's real. I do so many deals with Astro students, and I'm probably going to end up, like, I have a bunch of applications for my acquisitions manager role, and I'm probably going to end up hiring one of them. So I'll find employees through the community. I'll find people to do deals with in the community, and
you need a lender, you need private money. It's all lenders, there.
Literally everything. So yeah, I think the community is invaluable, and it's one of the things that you are doing better than every mentorship out there. And I think obviously Pace and TTP, those two communities, this is all one big community though. These three people, three guys that's one big community, and that's one advantage that all of you guys have.
We tap into each other and we work very well with each other, because we don't take a mindset of, this is mine and that's yours. We look at this like this belongs to all of you guys, and the Astro flipping community is your community, bro. I'm in it with you, and we all make it special. We all make it what it is. And Tyler, you've done an incredible job, bro. Like, not only have you come in, really taken to heart the work, you did an incredible job working with other people. I've heard your name come up over and over and over again from students, just praising you, letting people know how helpful you are, how they should absolutely connect with you and do business with you. And that, to me, as a leader, is how other leaders are formed. And you are a leader in the community, and we appreciate you, bro, and we love you. I'm sure there's people watching this right now who want to know how they can do business with Tyler.
Absolutely. There's a few different ways you can message me on Instagram. It's just my name, Tyler Uenaka. Last name is Uenaka, for those of you who are listening to the Spotify version or something like that. Or you can text me, and that is 916-894-8341. So I'm sure I'll get blown up now, but I think it'll be worth it. So if you're doing deals in Sacramento, or if you just need some help, I'm more than happy to hop on the phone with you and help out and do some deals with you. But again, don't call me just to say hi. How's your day? Don't, with all due respect to everyone, don't waste time, but call with some real things that I can actually help with, or real situations where we can actually make some money together.
Incredible. Tyler, congratulations on making it to the moon, baby. This has been great. Another fantastic episode, guys. If you have any questions about the Astro flipping community, there'll be a link with Tyler's affiliate in the description below. You can click on that. Get closer to us. Become a part of this community. It's a safety net. It is, in my opinion, and in many others, thousands of others, the greatest community of wholesalers on planet Earth. And you want to be there, because through this community, you get to the moon. Until next time, guys, peace.
Peace.
Thanks for watching another one of my YouTube videos. Now it's your turn to go out and take some action. But before you do, like and subscribe to my channel, because the law of reciprocity means you owe me.